1,000 acres destroyed.
And one small boy. Scrumping.
The papers are calling it calamity in the Garden of England. Is that all right?
Your firm's being held responsible?
Yes. Someone must have tampered with our crop spray. I got this job through your personnel selection department.
Yes, I remembered your name when I saw it in the papers.
Well, I may be along again any day now for another interview. I checked those chemicals myself before they left the labs. The compound was exact, worked out by computers, and yet all this land's been poisoned. No, we're doing more soil and bark tests, of course, but it's a waste of time. It's written off for possibly 2 years.
As long as that?
The earth's saturated with a lethal dose of this substance called fluorocetamide. It must have been introduced into that last crop spray we did.
Wasn't there a field contaminated by seepage from a factory once? They scraped off the top earth and put down fresh.
Over a few acres, but this is an impossible area. But why should anybody want to do a thing like this?
What do you think?
If that little boy hadn't eaten the apple and died, no one would have known. And the picking season's only a couple of weeks away.
Death at 9p a pound.
Yes. When was the last spraying?
Oh, a few weeks ago. Everybody's been questioned except the one man most concerned.
Well, who was that?
The pilot of the crop spray plane, John Bambridge.
The Battle of Britain flyer?
Yes, he worked for us. But the day after he did this little lot, he crashed. Now he's an invalid who just sits staring into space. A man without a mind.
Squadron leader Bambridge. Mr. Bambridge, I was wondering if you would help me.
I'm so sorry. I'm afraid he doesn't understand you. I'm Mrs. Bambridge. Won't you come inside? What's your name?
Harriet, I'm Harriet.
Haven't you brought a case of some sort?
Yes.
Oh, well, I suppose you've got a car.
Well, yes, I have.
You're early. I haven't got everything sorted out yet. Never mind. I expect you can help me to do that. Oh, I wonder, would you mind tying up those things? You'll find some string over there.
Mrs. Bambridge, I think you're making a mistake.
No, I don't think so. I spent half the night thinking about it. I'm afraid I couldn't consult my husband. You see, he doesn't utter a word, not even to me. Oh, he's really not going to have any use for these. We don't go anywhere anymore. There's no point. Oh, well, if he recovers someday, we can buy him a dozen use. No, it's all right. I'm all right. Oh, dear. Oh, that was a terrible play. Oh, that's a raffle ticket. He must have bought that a few days before the crash. Number 13. It's not a very lucky number.
But, Mrs. Bambridge, I didn't come here to collect clothing.
Aren't you from Oxfam? Aren't you the girl I spoke to on the telephone?
No, I'm not. I came to ask your husband about the crop spray.
We've had the police here, and we've had the press, and we've had half the directors of Chemspray. I don't know who you are, but my husband didn't spray that poison.
Look, not knowingly, perhaps.
He didn't spray it.
Look, Mrs. Bambridge, was your husband all right before this happened?
Now, what do you mean, was he all right?
Well, he wasn't acting strangely remote.
John? He was a wonderful man. He was full of life. We were a very happy family. We've got 2 children, and now he doesn't even know them. Oh, I'll never understand how he came to have that crash. It's almost as though he'd made a mistake about the date.
I don't follow you. How do you mean?
I am so sick of his being blamed by everybody. It wasn't his fault. It couldn't have been his fault for one very good reason. He didn't even fly the plane that day. I haven't told anybody this. Oh, I don't really know why I'm telling you. The fact is, Chemspray are paying us a pension because of the crash. I was afraid that if they found out that John had let somebody else fly the plane on the day the orchards were sprayed, they might have cancelled the pension. I don't know which is worse.
Mrs. Bambridge, who did fly the plane?
Oh, he was a part-time pilot my husband knew. I think John said his name was Shaw. That's all I know. After he'd done the spraying, he just disappeared.
So why take the job over from your husband?
You know, when pilots get older, they get superstitious. I'm afraid they all do. Oh, John got interested in astrology quite a long time ago. Not very seriously at first, but recently he did take the predictions very much to heart. We used to tease him about it.
He was saying about this stand-in pilot. Sure?
Oh, yes. Well, John said he couldn't fly the plane on that particular day. He said he'd been warned that his stars were against him. The next day, when he did fly, on a perfectly simple field job, he crashed.
Mrs. Bambridge, where did your husband get the warning not to fly? Was it from a newspaper horoscope?
Oh, no. He used to consult someone who's become quite fashionable for predictions these days, I believe. An astrologer.
Well, can you tell me who it was?
Well, he was always rather secretive about it. He looked on it as an innocent sort of a vice. He only mentioned the name once. It was something very ordinary, like Smith. Ah, now, there is one thing I do remember.
Dr. Smythe, I know I'm asking you to break a confidence, but...
But my doctorate isn't a medical one. Nevertheless, Mr. Herriot, I'm as discreet as any doctor about the identity of my clients.
Was Banbridge one of them?
I think your planets must be colliding. We almost are. Now, let me see. You must be Capricorn.
I didn't come here to find out about myself.
It might help us to understand each other a little better, don't you think? Date of birth?
10th of January.
1930. Oh, it's written all over you.
Banbridge came to see you. He believed in horoscopes.
And why not? There's a natural law of the universe, Mr. Herriot, in which chance and caprice have no place. You're dominated by it.
Oh.
We all follow paths which are predictable once we have the key. And the hour?
The hour?
When you were born.
Oh, I think it was early morning.
I might have guessed it. You're clean-shaven. That's what I find about late-night arrivals. They're either dark around the chin, or else they have beards.
You amaze me.
And yet I feel you're skeptical about cosmic influences.
On the contrary, there's every reason to be very much aware of them.
Aware or beware? You've a strange horoscope, Mr. Herriot. I might have guessed it from the way you imposed yourself. And yet you're basically sensible, secure, clever even.
I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, that didn't come from the charts. Call it female intuition.
Look, are you going to tell me, or aren't you, was Banbridge on your list?
I forgot to add, you're also persuasive. Yes. Yes, he was, before his misfortune.
Then it was you who gave him the warning.
People like me go to prison if we forecast personal disaster. Banbridge stopped coming to see me 6 months ago. As a matter of fact, a number of my clients did.
Arthur Climble, the MP.
Yes. His new advice is perhaps not quite so reliable as his old, or is that a trifle unethical?
A competitor?
Yes.
Who?
I regret to say I've no idea. He exists. That's all I can tell you.
But if he's fashionable, he must be known.
By word of mouth only.
But he must have an address.
Astrologers can operate anywhere. I happen to prefer Mayfair. You'd be surprised at the number of people who come to beat at my door.
Don't ask me why, but it's important. Can you give me the name of just one ex-client who consults this new man?
Climble's in prison. I wouldn't feel easy about disclosing any of the others.
But a great deal of damage can be done by false advice. Climble may have been given the wrong kind deliberately. I'm sure Banbridge was too.
Very well, Mr. Herriot. But I feel I should warn you. From a brief study of your charts, you're in direct opposition to some powerful force. However, you're also someone who won't be stopped in any quest he undertakes. Now, here's a very interesting man. Victor Liberton.
The city editor.
A man who works on hunches, and 5 million readers act on them.
Unless I'm mistaken, investors can start a countdown to increased share profits. Profits full stop. The appointment of dynamic 33-year-old Gilbert Rennick, R-E-N-W-I-C-K. Tell me if I'm going to first.
No, it's fine.
As chairman, R-E-N-W-I-C-K.
Thank you.
Will give this struggling group just the shot in the arm it needs and may force the long-talked-of merger with EGB Textiles. All right?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yes, you'd better telephone the picture editor in Fleet Street. Tell him in case he wants to send a photographer to Brown and Holder's annual general meeting. Tell him the mood the shareholders are in, there may be a riot. So he'll probably... All right. Well, now, how are you liking it here in the city?
Feel as though I was born to it.
Oh, that's an interesting remark. Why did you say that?
Well, before I took the job, my horoscope said it would be made a lucky offer. Said I should accept.
Oh, very interesting. This is one of my lucky spells, too.
You mean the planets are looking after you?
Oh, yes, yes. Yes, I've been trying to find the right assistant for ages, and then in you walked at a sensible speed. Shorthand, I mean. And, well, you seem like a splendid investment.
I'm flattered. Yes? Oh, just a moment. Mr. Liberton, it's for you.
Excellent. Yes. Oh, it's you? Yes. When? Yes, I think I can manage that. What time? 10. Could you make it 11? Right, I'll see you then. Oh, by the way, remind me after lunch to do a piece on Whaley & Bamber, the electronic, so you'll get to know them as Wham Bam.
This is very swish for a poor little city worker. Would you like a luncheon voucher?
How's your boss?
Oh, his diary's still straightforward, Drew. The whole week's gone by and we found nothing, and high finance bores me.
Really? Our personnel section must have got the wrong idea about you.
Or maybe you got the wrong idea about Mr. Liberton, too. Well, he does believe in horoscopes.
More than he'd care to admit.
We don't know that it's caused him to do anything erratic.
Not yet, but he's one of the most influential city editors in journalism. Just imagine how such a man could be manipulated.
What, through phony predictions?
Well, a word here, an article there. Could shake dozens of companies, rattle whole sections of the market.
You really think he could be influenced that much by an astrologer?
Why not? Half the country goes to work on a horoscope. And look how Banbridge was influenced, and what happened. Must have been a bit too delicate with our Mr. Liberton. Perhaps it's time to prod him a bit more sharply.
Jobbers and brokers. The jobbers are the men we see sitting or standing round the different pillars, or pitches as they're called. They're dealers in stocks and shares and are principals or wholesalers, as opposed to the brokers who are agents. The jobbers are not allowed to deal with the public, they must...
Oh, Mr. Harriet.
Yes.
Your note says it's urgent. What have you got for me, a hot tip?
Yes, you're running a risk.
Well, I do that every day, giving 5 million people shares advice.
You make educated guesses.
Yeah, well, that's a way of putting it.
A sort of tipster.
What exactly did you want to see me about?
Not so long ago, you changed your astrologer.
What?
You were a client of Ursula Smythe's. Who gives you predictions nowadays?
Yes, hello, my business is fortune hunting, not fortune telling.
I don't care what age you enlist to make your financial forecasts. All I want to know is the name of this new astrologer.
I came here because I thought you'd some information. I didn't come here to listen to all this.
Has it occurred to you this man may be using you? He may try to walk your judgment.
Nonsense.
He's made some accurate predictions, am I right? But he didn't arrive at them through second sight. It was foreknowledge. The events were contrived. You must tell me where I can find this astrologer.
No, I'm afraid I can tell you nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
Well, I shook him, but I couldn't shake out of him what I wanted.
then look at this. He's going there tonight. I've seen that name before on a raffle ticket in one of Banbridge's pockets.
What is it?
It's a hotel in Paddington.
There we are. Nice to see you again. How are we tonight?
Well, fine, thanks, Eddie. How about you?
I was hoping you'd come in. I wanted to thank you for your advice about those shares. They've gone up threepence already.
Well, I told you you'd make some money.
Oh, yes. You'll have to give me some more tips sometime. I'll make a fortune.
A dowry for some lucky man, eh?
Would you like a drink?
Have one on me, Victor. Hello, Lawrence. No, not for the moment. Thank you. No, I want to go to my room. Perhaps I might have a whiskey up there, eh? Charming.
Stanley!
I'll talk to you later.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Liberton. Welcome back to the Ritz. How are you, sir?
Oh, fine, thank you.
Yeah, I see they're using your picture on the posters nowadays, sir. And in the tube, too. Getting to be a real film star,
Come on,
aren't you,
come
eh?
on.
Vodka, please, Effie.
Right, Mr. Stan. What do the cards say tonight? Surely you'll get another film part soon.
I'm testing at Elstree tomorrow. That's why I'm up in town.
Ooh. Would you take me to the studios with you one day when you're in a film? I'd love to go.
My dear Effie, I'll make it a date.
Will you really?
It's in room number 6.
We'd better book in too.
What do I do if he sees me?
I have the feeling it's a very discreet hotel.
Good evening. Like a room, would you?
2 single rooms.
Oh.
We've just come off the train. I'm afraid we haven't got any luggage.
Oh, that's all right. Only you'll have to pay in advance, house rules. It'll be 25 shillings each.
Did I see Mr. Liberton come in?
Why, yes, he's just gone up. Do you know him, Mr. Liberton?
Yes.
I gather he takes a room here fairly regularly.
About once a week. Now, 7 and 8.
Can we have a drink in our rooms?
Certainly. What'll it be?
2 large brandies, please.
I'll get them now while you sign the book. I was just going to have this taken up to Mr. Liberton.
Drew, look at this. That's the raffle the one Banbridge had a ticket for.
You know Squadron Leader Banbridge, too?
Yes.
Oh, poor man. I read about him crashing his plane. He used to stay here quite often, such a nice person. Wait now. This is his. Second prize. Do you think I ought to send it? He's got kids, I believe.
I'll deliver it if you like.
Would you now? And tell him if he sends her love.
You're quite busy tonight, Stanley.
More customers on it?
Charming couple. Single rooms.
Effie booked you in yet, sir?
Yes. It's a bit early for dreamland, isn't it?
Here's to a night in a Paddington Doss house.
The ideal place for a consultation.
I'd hardly call it the ideal place for anything. No, Drew, I think I'll have a wash. It'll help keep me awake.
Come in.
Comfortable, sir?
Yes.
Oh, I'll just take the empty glasses, sir. Oh, your scarf, sir. Will you be needing anything else, sir?
No, nothing. Oh, hang on a moment.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Oh, by the way, the radio works if you'd like some late-night music, sir.
Well, won't it disturb the other guests?
Oh, no, not here, sir. This is a very functional hotel, if you know what I mean, sir. People come and go here at all hours on account of the trains. Do you know, sir, we had a guest here the other week. Rings for me in the middle of the night. Goes up to his room, says to me, can you tell me, he says, what time this train gets into Paddington? Go on, takes all sorts of it, sir. Good night, sir.
Don't forget my morning call, Stanley.
No, it's number 5, it is. All right.
Someone took the room next to Liberton. Perhaps he's our man.
I mean, there's a connecting door like we've got.
Possibly. I'm going to take a look.
How?
From the fire escape.
Can I do something for you, sir?
Yes, I was looking for Mr. Liberton. I thought he was in room number 6.
Oh, he was, but he's gone. He decided not to stay the night after all. Good night, sir.
Well, all I can say, George, is the best leads don't come from hanging around Threadneedle Street. That's all I'm going to say. Let's just say it was a good guess. Well, now, let's get on with my course for making you city-minded. Now, this is the hub of it all. And the jobbers, remember?
Yes.
Are those men who are sitting or standing on the pillars. Yes. And the brokers are the ones who are walking about the floor. And every Thursday at 11:45, the government broker comes over from the back. Well, that's a fine thing. I'm giving you my sizzling commentary, New York.
I'm sorry.
Heavy night?
Sort of.
John won this? Where?
At the Vesper Hotel in Paddington.
I don't understand. Was he staying there? I thought he always went to stay at the Astral Club.
Well, not always, Mrs. Banbridge.
I wonder what he was doing there.
Mrs. Banbridge, I must find the astrologer your husband saw. I believe they met at this hotel.
Oh, yes?
Well, whoever gives the predictions probably books in at the same time as his clients.
Why all the secrecy?
Well, not everybody likes it known they seek such advice, especially important people.
Mr. Harriet, why have you come to see me?
Could you bring your husband to London, to this hotel? Well, even if he didn't recover his voice, he might be triggered off in some way if he recognized the fortune teller.
No, I'm sorry. I couldn't expose John to that. I'm not dragging him up to town to parade him as some sort of a freak.
Would you mind if I talked to him?
You're wasting your time.
Mr. Banbridge? Listen, Mr. Banbridge. The Vesper Hotel. Effie.
Who?
The receptionist. Your husband didn't go there for the wrong reasons. Mr. Banbridge, you went to a hotel in Paddington, remember? You had several appointments there. Who with? The charts, Mr. Banbridge, in the hotel room. You could hear the trains, the noise of the trains. Who warned you not to spray the crops that day? Who was it?
I'm sorry. I think you'd better go.
What happened to the Banbridges?
She wouldn't bring him to the hotel.
I'm not surprised. Drew, I've been watching the shares on William Bambert. They're diving all the time.
Well, what about it?
Well, yesterday, Liverton dictated a piece about them. He was definitely hot on them. Did you look at his column today? He's downright alarmist about them now. What made him change his mind since last night?
You must have met someone at that hotel after all. Someone who practically controls his opinions.
So we didn't see him talking. We didn't see him talking to anybody.
There's only one thing we can do. Next time he goes there, we book in too. And this time we watch everything that moves, including the cockroaches in the kitchen.
Your little column's certainly making people sit up these days, Victor, and making others fall down, like that tottering electronics empire.
Well, I haven't been proved wrong yet.
You have a drink?
Not for me, thanks, Effie, no. We'll continue our discussions later.
Clevedon Cosmetics, Effie.
What?
Put your money on them. The shares, I mean.
Did Mr. Liverton tell you that?
Well, never mind what he told me, but one of their competitors is going to slump. That's the forecast.
Good evening.
What are you doing here?
Almost time for your consultation.
Get out.
It's started, hasn't it? Your judgment's getting clouded by the stars.
Get out.
Your astrologer's done very well by you. But supposing he twisted his forecasts? All those companies you're about to slaughter, Liverton, that's what he wants. He's putting the knife into British business, and you're the knife.
If you don't get out, I'll sue you.
Could you stand the publicity? Don't you think your readers might lose faith if they found your advice came from an astrologer? Do you ever meet Banbridge, a fellow client? He's the man that caused those orchards in Kent to be destroyed. Someone put the idea into his head not to fly one particular day, just so that a substitute pilot could do the dirty work.
Get out.
But think what he can do. He makes a forecast. You write it in your column. And because people act on what you write, his forecast becomes fact.
Something wrong, gentlemen?
Oh, he's asleep, that's all. Sound asleep.
What happened?
He doesn't want to know.
Thank you, dear. Well, now, I've got his dates. I found them in a biography of his life. So now you'll be able to tell, won't you, whether our planets are in line? Oh, I suppose you're laughing at me. I mean, wanting to know about him and me. A man like him. Oh, I know nothing'll come of it. But I've always been a dreamer. My dad used to say, Effie, your dreams will be the death of you. It's definite. I'm going to be there. I've got a ticket. It'll be his birthday. And I thought, if the stars are right, you know, I thought I might give him something. Nobody need notice, except him. He'd have to look at me then, wouldn't he? Might even say something. That's all I really want. Well, you told me Venus was my planet, and Venus smiles on love, doesn't she?
You can't stay awake all night.
I'll ring down for some coffee.
I made a chocolate and turn in. I'll keep an eye on things.
All right, but wake me if you need me. Come in. Thank you. Could you put it down there, please?
Having trouble getting off to sleep, madam?
Yes.
I'll shut the window. It'll be the noise of them trains hooting and hissing.
You're very late. That chap along there, Harriet, seems to want to put you out of business.
Drew? 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 Drew!
Thank you. What I'd really like to know at the moment, but there's no need to be too specific, is if there's any new trend in the charts. For example, what is the general forecast about world grain supplies?
Oh, hello, dear. Is anything wrong?
Do you have an ice pack?
An ice pack. Now, what would that be?
It's for Mr. Harriet for his head. He's not very well.
Oh, well, now I've got some ice in the fridge. If I put it in a plastic bag, will that be all right?
That's fine.
I'll do that.
Is it you?
It isn't often one's asked by a dishy creature, is it you?
I've seen you before. It's a funny place to make predictions, but then you aren't really an astrologer.
Me? On the contrary, the planets control me.
Which one?
Saturn, mainly. Can I buy you a drink?
Don't you go to bed? Perhaps you're waiting for clients.
Huh? Oh, my dear, I'm afraid you got hold of the wrong party here. On the other hand, let me guess what you are. Now, you are a film starlet? Yes, and you want to know if you can stop being nice to people, because you're going to make it whatever. Oh, I know, I'm in the business, and some starlets have even been nice to me.
I want to meet the person who can tell my future. Can you arrange it?
Well, darling, it's a bit of a late night sitting, but then I suppose you can't go to Betty Buys until you know. I'll see what I can do. What's your room number?
Number 7.
Right. And after you've had the treatment, perhaps we could have a drink and Betty Buys?
If this person comes to see you, keep him talking for a while to get him off balance and see if you can trick him. I'll come in the right moment and face him. Perhaps you can make him crack by using Liberton too.
Come in.
Still not asleep, madam?
No.
How did you hear about me?
The word gets around in show business. You're the astrologer?
Oh, yes, yes. Mind you, I'm not as famous as some, and I like to stay anonymous. That's why I keep on this job.
You always been an astrologer?
Oh, no. You see, I was a clerk in a shipping office. Then I did a spell in the forces in Cyprus. Then I was an assistant waiter in Claridge's. I was always fascinated by astrology.
I mean, you had a gift for it.
Well, I wouldn't say I had a gift exactly. But a few months ago, I found I could make predictions.
Real predictions.
Oh, most of them come true, yes. Spot on, as a matter of fact. Well, there's all sorts of ways it can happen. Maybe I got second sight all of a sudden. Only I never knew I was the 7th child. Or if I was, my old man never let on about the others. No, I work from the charts. By the way, my name's Shaw. Stanley Shaw.
Sure.
Yes, I don't think I got yours.
Harriet. Anne Harriet.
Same as mine.
Good evening.
We're going to see Liberton.
But you can't wake the customer.
How will I have this out with him?
What the devil are you doing here?
Mr. Liberton, we've got things to talk about.
What's all this about? What's Shaw doing here?
I'll tell you, your Mr. Shaw is poison all round.
Look here.
I gotta get on with my job.
We know what your job is. We've met others.
I suppose you've been spying on me, have you, for him?
Now,
You
wait
asked
a
me to
minute.
both taken leave of their senses.
What have you managed to find out?
But Mr. Liberton, I haven't
This
been
man
spying.
tried to kill me right here in this hotel.
What would I want to do that for?
Well, we've no proof
All
that
right,
you-
I'll make predictions. Mr. Liberton's a client. Where's the crime in that?
That's no crime.
You still don't believe how dangerous he is? He's a murderer.
minute.
That's your word against his. Isn't it? Let me have a word with him in private.
But you mustn't listen to him. He's a fraud.
But Mr.
He's trying to
Liberton, we're
fool
trying to
you.
help.
Did you try to kill Harriet? No, of course I didn't.
You knew he was searching for you?
If you ask me, they're paid by some other astrologer to discredit me.
Oh, could be. I put a lot of trust in you, Shaw.
I haven't let you down, have I?
No. But let me say, it's been suggested that you don't so much predict an event as know that it'll happen, that in some way you make it happen.
Well, of course I know what's going to happen from the charts I use. But I don't work any differently from any other astrologer. It's just that I'm better. That's why I get clients like yourself.
It's not that I don't believe in your
Look,
powers, of course I do.
Would you like these people to stop me from helping you?
No, I wouldn't.
All right, then. Why don't I give you another prediction? One I worked out tonight.
About what?
A death.
Whose?
It's a death that'll shock the whole country. The man will be a celebrity, a household name. It'll happen through an explosion of some sort.
Can you predict who it'll be?
No, I couldn't see his name in the charts. But it'll happen this weekend, in front of thousands of people.
Stanley's gone. He just packed up his bags and left. He didn't stop to give an address.
Have you no idea where he went?
None at all. He left without a word.
Where's his home?
He lived here. His room's through beyond the kitchen. He never talked of any family. Oh, all right, Mr. Chance. What did you two say to him to make him go off like that?
Did you know what Shaw was up to?
Up to? Well, if you mean his horoscopes, of course I did. But what's wrong in giving a bit of advice to people who want it?
He made a prediction to Mr. Liberton. Did he say anything to you about it?
I told you Stanley just walked out. Oh, all right, Mr. Chance, I'm coming. I'm sorry, I can't help you. You'll have to excuse me.
If he left so quickly, some of his things must still be in his room.
You're at it early this morning. What's it to be?
Oh, I feel terrible.
I'll give you a light ale. Soak it up.
So, you've begun to have doubts about Shaw.
No.
Then why are you here? You want that prediction to come true, don't you? You want someone to die just to prove Shaw's right.
That explosion might be accidental or an act of fate. These people are inhuman, are you?
All right. Perhaps I have some doubts.
Can you remember anything about his last prediction?
There isn't much more. He said it would happen in front of thousands of people. I've been glued to the television, but there's no sign of anything.
He said a household name.
Yes.
What big show takes place on a Sunday?
True. Do you still want proof that this man's a dangerous fake?
Stanley!
Hello, Effie.
Stanley, whatever happened to you going off like that without so much as a goodbye to anybody? They've been looking for you.
Who?
Mr. Harriet and the girl. Mr. Liberton, too. They were here this afternoon. What made you disappear so suddenly, Stanley?
An old friend was very ill, Effie. I saw it in the charts suddenly. I rushed to his bedside.
Oh, just fancy that. And did he...
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Oh.
Never mind, Effie. Your concerns with life and love. I came back to make sure you hadn't weakened.
Oh, no. I was just leaving. Look, would you like a drink? Or a cup of tea? The kettle's just boiling.
Yeah, I'd love one, Effie.
Right.
Effie, did you get that little present I suggested?
Oh, yes. Look,
Oh,
they all right?
Just right.
You're not just saying that. I thought it might be...
No,
a
it's
bit-
just right. Very nice, Effie.
I'll get you tea. My inside's all a-flutter. I'll probably faint.
When the time comes, you'll be calm.
You think so?
I'm sure of it. Hey?
What'll I say to him?
Happy birthday.
Yes, that's sure. That's the man who flew the plane that day.
Convinced?
Well, goodbye now, Stanley. I'd better be off.
Hey, Effie, you're forgetting his present.
Oh, good gracious me.
Now have the time of your life.
Are you going to stay? Come back to the job, I mean.
Yeah, I might. Now you better hurry.
Oh, good night, Mr. Chance. Wish me luck.
Mr. Chance.
Hello, Stanley. I was just calling up a chum. Effie told me you'd skipped it.
Couldn't stay away from the old place, sir. Can I get you a drink?
Yes, I'd like one, thank you.
I've heard he always comes and says hello before starting, signs autographs. Can't wait to see him in the flesh.
Mr. Chance?
Mr. Chance, you phoned. What did you discover? Mr. Chance.
Now, following Armchair Theatre, there's another edition of the Aim
Shaw is here, all right.
Live from London, and you'll be able to see
Don't switch it off.
how live it is when you meet his guests. Right now, Eamon, whose birthday it happens to be today, is busy welcoming his guests as the audience assemble for another Sunday night session with the celebrities.
Eamon.
Yes.
Mr. Andrews, I heard it was your birthday, so I... cigar.
Very kind of you, Miss...
Effie Peterson. I wrote a verse that's on the card.
You did? Thank you very much.
45
Effie.
seconds, please, Mr. Andrews.
Fine. Would you excuse me? See you
Take your
next
seats,
time.
please, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah, we go there. Now we go.
Well, allow me to introduce myself. My name's John Benson. I'm one of ABC's announcers. And all I've got to do when the programme starts is to say live from London and tell you who's going to be in it. Therefore, I've got to come out now, earn my money, and tell you what we do at 11:05. First of all, let's find out who's been to a television studio before. Hands up those who've been to a TV studio before. Oh. Oh, well, it's live, of course, obviously live from London.
Live from London, the Eamon Andrews Show. And tonight, Eamon's guests are Sidney James, Catherine Whitehorn, Jerry Kiki Smith, Keith Michelle, June Bonhill, the Rolling Stones. And now, here's Eamon Andrews.
Well, here's another card from a viewer in Cleethorpes, Lincolnshire, Miss Jean West. You know, it isn't really my 43rd birthday. My boxing age is 21. All right, well, Miss West card says, Monday mornings are still blue, but you make Sunday night the most colorful of the week. Better not be blue. Oh, and here, from a young lady in the audience, a box of cigars. Gave them to me on the way in, and I'm going to light one up with my guests in just a moment. But before I do, let me read a poem she told me she's written.
Don't open that box!
Must be that smoking scare.
Keep away! Stand back!
I came out to destroy. We don't know who they are or where they're going to strike next.